for that. Well, we're seeing turmoil and breakdown. It's happening in UK, it's happening in France, it's happening in the USA. So it appears that the hidden hand is working at a global level. But in UK, of course, one of the areas where we've seen decay and chaos at work is the UK military. And let's pop Radakin, Admiral Radakin, back on screen, the head of the military. This is the headline from the Mail a couple of days ago. Britain's top military officer faces a grilling by MPs after the head of the army quits over budget cuts. So this is General Sanders quitting. Well, it's not just budget cuts, it's him saying that essentially if we cut to around 73,000 for the army, we don't have an effective fighting force. I'm labelling Radakin here as unfit for purpose because I think this man is unfit for the job he's doing. But let's remind people that back in October 2021, we reported, the headlines from the Mail here, but we were talking about a Royal Marines general who killed himself after what was described as a bit of fallout over changes to the Royal Marine, but it was also connected with deployment of forces. So Tony Radakin was pretty outspoken at the time. He said, I will engage with ministers and our international partners. The debate has to be toned down and ideally stopped. This is about my authority. I think you gain something about this man's personality from the words, but he said that international engagement by CGRM Major General Holmes is to stop. He went on to say that the focus is to ensure the Corps delivers on its task, seeking opportunities for increased integration with the Royal Navy. And of course, this was anathema to the Royal Marines themselves. This was some of the messages from Major General Matt Holmes himself. He'd had a tough year. He felt beaten down, not listened to. He said he didn't trust Admiral Radakin. It's been awful. You should see the tone of some of his emails. And he said he had been kept away from ministers, and it's all about his narrative. And of course, if we follow Radakin's narrative through, we see failure in the Royal Navy, we see failure in the military. We also see failure in Ukraine, albeit that Admiral Radakin has been there with the Ukrainians and talking to their military staff. So, yeah, there was a lot reported on this, and it was all pointing back at Admiral Radakin. But let's bring in this latest report in the Telegraph. Colonel forced out of the army after stating men cannot be women. So incredible times. This can't be accidental policy. It's got to be deliberate. The result is the breakdown of our armed forces, and clearly this is planned. Alex, bring